Moby. Hey. Hey. What's up? Alright, this is not a video about my cat. I finally started wrenching on the old Buick Estate wagon. And I want to show you guys exactly what I'm doing. In my other video I mentioned that this car didn't run, and the reason why it didn't run is because the all well-known OptiSpark module went bad, which is basically the whole distributor for the LT1 engine. And in order to replace the OptiSpark, you pretty much got to pull apart the whole front of the engine. So that's basically what I have here. I pulled the water pump off of it. I pulled the serpentine belt, the clutch fan, which this car had on it because it has the tow package. And right here is the OptiSpark. And from what it looks like, it's been replaced once before, because the water pump that came off this thing, these are not factory gaskets. So this has been replaced once before. So unlike a traditional small block Chevy engine, which is water pump is held on by 4 bolts, this one's held on by 6 bolts, 3 on each side. And this, as mentioned before, the camshaft actually drives this water pump. I'll show you exactly how that works. The camshaft has a gear coming off of it, which then has a spline shaft coming through the timing chain cover, which has a seal on it, which I'm going to replace. And that spline shaft goes on the back of the water pump and doesn't have a belt to drive this water pump. The front of it's just got a flat cover. And I'm going to have to replace this water pump because if you look at the weep hole underneath there, you can see all the corrosion around it. So this water pump is leaking. So while I have it apart, I'm going to replace that. And I'm going to replace the OptiSpark module, that right there. And the seal, and also the seal, which I believe there's a seal behind the OptiSpark on the crankshaft itself. And one of the things that you need to note when pulling these LT1s apart to replace this module is when you pull the harmonic balancer off, is you mark the position of the harmonic balancer. I marked it in the 12 o'clock position. I made a silver mark right there on the hub, and that went on like that. And amazingly enough, once I took the bolts off of the harmonic balancer, it actually pulled right off. Someone must have put some anti-seize on that hub, and it came right off, so that was pretty damn lucky. So looks like some mice were in there. So I'm going to clean this all out, replace all the parts needed, and get it all back together, and hopefully it fires up. I pulled the old battery out of it, which was from 2006, and put a newer battery in it, and just to make sure that all the electrical worked, and everything worked on it. The temperature control system came on in the car, all the power seats work, power windows, power antenna, radio, everything works, and the fuel pump came on as well. So I know that the fuel pump is still good in this car, because as mentioned before, this car's been sitting since 2007. And put the parts in the back of the car here. I'll show you everything I had to pull off. I had to pull the fan shroud off, the clutch fan itself, the big home base. I don't know what that thing is, but all these plastic parts that came off of the air intake. Right there is the bracket that went on the front of the engine, which holds on the electric pollution pump. It's not a belt-driven pollution pump. And right here, that's the bracket for the clutch fan. That little idler right there is froze up, so I'm going to have to replace that. That's pretty much it. So I want to finally get this car fired up and back on the road where it belongs. Fortunately, this car was saved Fortunately, it didn't run because the guy who used to own this car was considering turning it in under the cash for clunkers law, or the cash for clunkers benefit, I should say. So this was saved. So fortunately, it didn't run. So I'm going to get this car running, and what I'll do is once I get all this replaced, I won't even start it up. I'll do a more or less a first-time start and see if it fires up for the first time in 3.5 years. So that's basically it. Opti spark replacement.